Today, let's talk about 2024 European Society of Cardiology Guidelines for Management of Chronic Coronary Syndromes. Key points. The key points to remember from the 2024 European Society of Cardiology Guidelines for the Management of Chronic Coronary Syndromes are: the term chronic coronary syndromes describes the clinical presentations of coronary artery disease during stable periods, particularly those preceding or following an acute coronary syndrome. Of note, symptoms of myocardial ischemia due to obstructive atherosclerotic coronary artery disease overlap with those of coronary microvascular disease or vasospasm. Characterization of endotypes is important to guide appropriate medical therapy for angina with non-obstructive coronary arteries, ischemia with non-obstructive coronary arteries patients. Managing individuals with suspected chronic coronary syndromes involves 4 steps. Step 1. The first step is a general clinical evaluation that focuses on assessing symptoms and signs of chronic coronary syndromes, differentiating non-cardiac causes of chest pain, and ruling out acute coronary syndrome. This initial clinical evaluation requires recording a 12-lead resting electrocardiogram, basic blood tests, and in selected individuals, chest X-ray imaging, and pulmonary function testing. This evaluation can be done by the general practitioner. Step 2. The second step is a further cardiac examination, including echocardiography at rest to rule out left ventricular dysfunction and valvular heart disease. After that, it is recommended to estimate the clinical likelihood of obstructive coronary artery disease to guide deferral or referral to further non-invasive and invasive testing. Step 3. The third step involves diagnostic testing to establish the diagnosis of chronic coronary syndromes and determine the patient's risk of future events. Step 4. The final step includes lifestyle and risk factor modification combined with disease-modifying medications. A combination of antianginal medications is frequently needed, and coronary revascularization is considered if symptoms are refractory to medical treatment or if high-risk coronary artery disease is present. If symptoms persist after obstructive coronary artery disease is ruled out, coronary microvascular disease and vasospasm should be considered. The inclusion of risk factors to classic pretest likelihood models of obstructive atherosclerotic coronary artery disease improves the identification of patients with very low, less than or equal to 5% pretest likelihood of obstructive coronary artery disease, in whom deferral of diagnostic testing should be considered. First-line diagnostic testing of suspected chronic coronary syndromes should be done by non-invasive anatomic or functional imaging. Selection of the initial non-invasive diagnostic test should be based on the pretest likelihood of obstructive coronary artery disease, other patient characteristics that influence the performance of non-invasive tests, and local expertise and availability. Coronary computed tomography angiography is preferred to rule out obstructive coronary artery disease and detect non-obstructive coronary artery disease. Functional imaging is preferred to correlate symptoms to myocardial ischemia, estimate myocardial viability, and guide decisions on coronary revascularization. Positron emission tomography is preferred for absolute myocardial blood flow measurements, but cardiac magnetic resonance perfusion studies may offer an alternative. Selective second-line cardiac imaging with functional testing in patients with abnormal coronary computed tomography angiography and coronary computed tomography angiography after abnormal functional testing may improve patient selection for invasive coronary angiography. Invasive coronary angiography is recommended to diagnose obstructive coronary artery disease in individuals with a very high pre- or post-test likelihood of disease, severe symptoms refractory to guideline-directed medical therapy, angina at a low level of exercise and/or high event risk. When invasive coronary angiography is indicated, it is recommended to evaluate the functional severity of intermediate stenosis by invasive functional testing before revascularization. A single antiplatelet agent, aspirin or clopidogrel, is generally recommended long-term in chronic coronary syndromes patients with obstructive atherosclerotic coronary artery disease. For high thrombotic risk, chronic coronary syndromes patients, long-term therapy with two antithrombotic agents is reasonable as long as bleeding risk is not high. Among chronic coronary syndromes patients with normal left ventricular function and no significant left main or proximal left anterior descending lesions, current evidence indicates that myocardial revascularization over guideline-directed medical therapy alone does not prolong overall survival. Among patients with complex multivessel coronary artery disease without left main coronary artery disease, particularly in the presence of diabetes, who are clinically and anatomically suitable for both revascularization modalities, current evidence indicates longer overall survival after coronary artery bypass grafting than percutaneous coronary intervention. Lifestyle and risk factor modification combined with disease-modifying and antianginal medications are cornerstones in the management of chronic coronary syndromes. Furthermore, shared decision-making between patients and healthcare professionals based on patient-centered care is paramount in defining the appropriate therapeutic pathway for chronic coronary syndromes patients. Patient education is key to improve risk factor control in the long term.